How fast can stock market sentiment change? In an instant, just ask NVIDIA investors, nearly $600 billion in market value wiped out overnight. No warning, no second chances. Noble Gold Investments is alerting all clients to diversify now. Market crashes don't wait. They strike fast, devastating the unprepared. But smart investors, they're already one step ahead, protected and prepared. For nearly a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped thousands protect their wealth with gold IRAs and physical gold. With over $2 billion in precious metal sales, Noble Gold is the trusted choice for Americans serious about financial security. Gold, it's real, it's yours, it retains value. And now, when you open a qualified account, you'll receive 2 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coins for free. Are you diversified? If not, when will you act? After your portfolio is down 10, 20, 30%? Or will you protect your portfolio now? The next market crash won't send a warning. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com today. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Don't just grow your wealth, guard it. And remember, there are no guarantees of any kind when investing. Good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Every once in a while, we switch it up. We change gears. We get financial. We get digital with my digital money. That means I'm going to be talking with my man, Guy Gotslak. Recently moved. He's married. He's moving. Breakneck pace with this guy. That's why I like him. He's going to come here and answer some questions. I have some questions. The Trump effect. We've heard about it, affecting other countries with conflicts around the world, the stock market, but how is it affecting digital money? Crypto. He is the crypto president, and who better to tell us all things crypto than the aforementioned Guy Gotslak. So let's bring him in here. What's up, Guy?
Hey, how are you?
Great, man. I appreciate you being here. As I mentioned, you're a very busy man. On top of the moving and the marriage, you got the business. So I really appreciate you carving out a few minutes to hang out with myself and my audience.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So the Trump effect. We saw just him being elected. We saw lots of world leaders, coming around. Hey, Trump, how you been? You look great. You lost weight. You look beautiful, man. You have people coming to Mar-a-Lago. You have peace talks happening that weren't happening, over the last 3 years since we're going on 3 years or 4 years with Ukraine. Then you have what's going on in Gaza. So he's making things happen just by being in office. But crypto, I believe, is no different. How did kind of Trump being back in office affect that?
Yeah, I mean, it was very positive for the industry just because of his pro-regulatory, stance and pro-crypto stance. He already, you could see the price of Bitcoin, in the 2 weeks after the election shot up to close to 100,000 from 68,000. So the price, skyrocketed after he was elected. And one of the, big kind of catalysts was that, he stated that he was going to pretty much fire Gary Gensler, who was the head of the SEC. And, he's kind of the arch nemesis of crypto, as I've called him in the past. He's laid out multiple enforcement actions against crypto companies. And so, he ended up resigning, instead of waiting to be pushed out. And, Paul Atkins is going to be appointed the head of the SEC, and he's very crypto friendly. He used to work with blockchain companies to help them, kind of become compliant from a regulatory standpoint. And he also has criticized a lot of the enforcement actions of the SEC, and he used to be the chair of the SEC. So he's industry, veteran. He's very well respected. And so when it was announced that Gary Gensler was resigning, that's when the price of Bitcoin went over 100,000, and XRP actually shot up because, as you know, they were involved in a huge lawsuit. So XRP went from 50 cents to over $3. uh, in a matter of a month. So yeah, I mean the price was very much helped by his election and all the actions that have happened since. There's like three bills on the table that at least one will pass this year, which is going to provide more regulatory clarity, which has been needed. And yeah, it's been a great thing for crypto, of course.
Yeah, so that sounds like a a bit of a Trump slash Gensler effect, because once he announced that he was going to be out of there, that's when everybody was kind of like, okay, cool, this is going to get different and better. Um, so we often think about Trump being elected for social and political reasons. His policies. He's going to undo this. He's going to undo that. The energy and oil and change America. Make America great again and all that stuff. But we sometimes don't think about it from a financial standpoint, because I'm sure that the people who are big in crypto were hoping Trump got in there for totally different reasons. I mean, another 4 years of Kamala, that probably would have been another 4 years of Gensler being in there, another 4 years of crypto not growing like it could and it should. So there are a group of people out there who are pulling for Trump for a different reason. So speaking of, so he's known for being a crypto president, but do you expect a lot of action now that he's not on the campaign trail? But I would think that we would get more action out of him, because he's definitely a promises made, promises kept kind of guy. But what do you think, guy?
Yeah, I mean, and already, while more symbolic, he signed the Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financial Technology Executive Order, which basically promotes U.S. leadership in digital assets. It aims to strengthen the position of the U.S. in the global digital finance landscape and emphasizes innovation in digital financial technologies. So, as part of that executive order, there were a bunch of different facets in there. But one of them was, banning of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, which explicitly bans the Federal Reserve or any other federal agency from issuing a central bank digital currency, which is not really a crypto, right? It's basically the digital dollar, which provides more control um,
Mm-hmm.
to currency, right? So it's kind of the opposite of Bitcoin, in that it's the most centralized version of currency, not decentralized. So that was one aspect of it. But also he basically just stated that he wants to make Bitcoin a strategic reserve asset of the U.S., right? And also he wants a bill to be passed that provides more clarity about whether uh, various cryptocurrencies are considered securities or commodities, right? And just provide a path to compliance. So it's generally positive in that it's showing that he's setting the tone for the administration, like for their stance on crypto, which is completely the opposite of what it was under the Biden administration, which a lot of people, coined the term Operation Choke Point 2.0, which the idea behind it was that the administration was trying to drive it, trying to ban crypto, like not explicitly, at least,
Mm-hmm.
but secretly, like trying to drive it away from the U.S. So this is the opposite. This aims to make the U.S. a leader in digital assets.
And I think the world's a better place when America is leading. And you mentioned how the government kind of want to have their own version of it, which would only end up being, a digital dollar. But that kind of speaks to the the reason they might not want it is because of the incorruptibility of crypto. There's we're not involved. There's a government involved, a group of people, so it kind of protects it from what they were probably hoping to do.
Yeah, and it aligns with kind of the with Doge, right? The principles of Doge, which is just more efficiency, uh, less bureaucracy, fewer middlemen, right?
Mhm.
Because that's what blockchain is all about, is kind of taking out the middleman, not necessarily completely from all aspects of life, but where it makes sense to take it out, and just to be more efficient and just more common sense. And so, and one of the other big things that happened was that the SEC repealed SOB 121, which is it's called the Staff Accounting Bulletin number 121. It was issued by the SEC originally, which deals with the accounting treatment of digital assets held by companies for their clients, and it just makes it hard for banks to custody crypto, and to have solutions in place. So this repealed it, which is big. It basically brings banks and big institutions back into the game. So that was a big thing that happened recently, a few weeks ago, and I think we're already seeing a lot of activity from big institutions. So that is, of course, going to help. We have applications for ETFs. You know how Bitcoin was approved for an ETF back in January of last year, so that really catapulted the price. It made it more kind of mainstream, right? It allows institutions and allows like accredited investors to invest in Bitcoin indirectly, but invest in it, through the normal vehicles that they're used to. And now there's applications out there for Litecoin and for Solana and for XRP. So there's a lot of continued institutional participation, which is of course very, very positive, for adoption, for the industry, for price, for liquidity. So we're heading in a really good direction.
Yeah, you mentioned last time we talked, you mentioned, watching, you just said, there's some major players involved making moves, and you mentioned to look at what they're doing, not what they're saying. If they tell you don't do this, don't invest in that, but you look at them and they're doing it, you really got to look at what people are doing, not what they're saying. And so the executive orders that he issued, unfortunately, like we saw with Biden, the next president can come in and undo all of it. So, what does the longevity of this look like? Do you think there will be things built in, or maybe some laws passing, some legislation to make this a permanent thing? Because, at one time we might have thought it's unthinkable. Our federal government wouldn't come in and ruin our finances. Of course, they would champion things that make us richer and more prosperous. But we know that might not be the case. So, do you think there'll be some things in place to make this permanent, so that when he's not out of office, Trump's a one-term president? I think that's part of this breakneck speed that he's maintaining. But
Yeah.
do we have hope? Will this go on after the Trump administration?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, because there's a number of bills that didn't pass the Senate last year, but now we have Republican-led, Senate and House, so
Mhm.
much more likely to pass this year. And once it gets to the president's desk, of course, it's going to have a great chance of being signed. So, um, we have one bill which is aims to provide clarity between securities and commodities. Like, uh, the main issue that's been going on is there's been confusion over whether certain cryptocurrencies are securities or commodities, and which affects how they're regulated by the SEC, or if it's the CFTC, right, that regulates them and how they regulate them. And there's also been an issue that a lot of these cryptocurrencies, they don't really fit into traditional assets, so you really need to mold kind of regulation to fit the new technology, right? So some of these cryptocurrencies are actually have utility, and so they should be governed in a whole different way. So this bill kind of aims to give uh kind of better clarity on how to govern these things. And so that bill is on the table for this year. And then there's also strategic Bitcoin reserve bill, which states that, and I think it was Senator Loomis that introduced it, and it basically has the U.S. buying, I think it's 1 million Bitcoins over 5 years, um, and putting that in strategic reserve. So that's the other bill. And then there's a stable coin bill as well. I don't think they'll all pass this year, but I think at least one will.
Mhm,
And of course, that means that increases the likelihood of longevity, right?
mhm,
Um, so yeah, and I think the president, while the president has a lot of power in terms of executive orders, I mean, there's still oversight and there's still Congress, and so I think in 4 years we can make a lot of progress,
mhm.
and hopefully it will be hard to undo that progress next time.
I hope so. So with cryptocurrency, do you think that maybe in the not so distant future that crypto will not compete with the dollar because we don't want to introduce something that's going to compete with our best product, but do you think that crypto might join the US dollar? It might become a partner with the US dollar like we've seen in other countries where crypto is like it. Do you think that might be a possibility?
Yeah, I think they complement each other well, and they can work together. It's not one or the other. And in the strategic reserve, we'll have Bitcoin, we'll have gold, and other assets in there. And Bitcoin keeps the dollar honest, in that it provides a lot of these things like decentralization and fast settlement time, and all these things that are beneficial. So it kind of keeps the dollar honest. Competition, right, is always good. It always, if you're a monopoly, then things can get out of control, right? And it's not beneficial for consumers. But when you have, competition, then that's why the government is trying to come up with, um, various ways to improve a lot of the issues, right? So I think it's going to make the dollar better. It'll keep the government from mismanaging to some degree.
Mhm.
Like how they're mismanaging the overprinting of the dollar. So, um, yeah, I think Bitcoin provides an alternative for certain purposes, right? The dollar has its purpose too. So, yeah, it can continue to thrive and be the world reserve currency, while Bitcoin is, used to preserve wealth. And, different cryptocurrencies have, their own purpose. But yeah, I don't think that it's one or the other.
So you're saying that an overgrown, bloated entity can mismanage things?
Absolutely.
Wow, we're breaking new ground here, guy. That is a
Yeah.
crazy idea. Um, so tell me about the Trump Melania meme coins.
Yeah, I don't love them because at My Digital Money, we're not huge fans of meme coins.
Mhm.
Meme coins
What
have their
can
place.
what
What's
what
that?
is that exactly? What's a
So
meme
meme
coin?
coin, it's essentially just a coin that goes up and down based on hype and marketing. It doesn't really have a utility.
Mhm,
It's essentially a lot of these started off as a joke, like Dogecoin. It's a dog. It's like after some internet meme, right? Something that's like popular. And um, it gets its value just based on speculation and popularity. So that makes it dangerous. It makes it almost like gambling, like you're walking into a
mhm,
casino and putting money on red or black. um, and gambling is fine, it has its place, right? But that's not what we do here at My Digital Money. We're focused on retirement, so we don't want to gamble with your nest eggs. That's why we don't have meme coins. We have coins that have a solid technology, have founders with a track record, and have liquidity, and you know uh, have the best chance of succeeding long term. So that's why we don't deal with meme coins. But I thought it was interesting, because a lot of what makes it dangerous is that there's all this hype. Like you hear of people that made all this money, and when you hear that, it's usually too late. Like you that's when you get in, and then all of a sudden it drops. And that's what happened with the Trump coin. I think it went from, like, I don't know, a few dollars to $80 within a couple of days. And then, I know someone that went in, and then the price dropped back down to like $20. Um, so of course they lost, a lot. So
mhm.
um, you're doing it. Yeah, and a lot of times you don't know anything about the coin. You don't know about the tokenomics, and And one of the things that I realized is that only 10% of the circulating supply was made public, which is usually not great. Like,
Mhm.
so that means that, not that Trump himself owned it, but, people that are, responsible, right, for creating the token, like most of them, owned, well, they owned most of the supply, right? So
Mhm.
that's one thing I didn't like about it. But also just the optics, right, of a sitting president. It's kind of a conflict of interest in a way, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, but if you want to have fun, you want to invest what you can afford to lose. That's great. But yeah, that's what meme coins are. Just so people are aware that it's just a way to gamble.
Oh, so it's just kind of for fun, like a novelty, like a
Or it's a
slot
gamble. You
machine.
want to make a quick buck, but you can
Yeah.
lose just as easily, right? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it's
like you said, if you have it to lose, you got a little extra, you want to play around with it. That sounds like that would be something to do. But if you're serious, then don't expect that from My Digital Money because they're all about that business. Uh, Good to
yeah.
know. Good. So that's what a meme coin is. So, one more thing I wanted to ask you about the tariffs. Trump is all about the tariff, and I don't think it's not a long-term fix. I think it's more of in his hands, a bargaining tool. We're gonna squeeze your financial nut, so to speak, until you give us what we want. So I don't think it's going to be like a long-term thing, especially once people comply. But how did it have, or did it have, an effect on the Bitcoin world? Because it's connected to the economy, and economies, you know goods and things like that, and charging a country more, that's going to have an effect on what people pay in their everyday life. So how did that kind of ripple effect, what effect did that have on the Bitcoin world, if at all?
Yeah, I mean it's having an effect just like it's affecting stocks. I mean, people are more cautious in their investments because of the economic uncertainty that this creates, right? They're not sure if how this trade war is going to play out, and how it's going to affect their prices on goods, and so that makes people just more cautious. And on risk assets like tech stocks are usually the first to get impacted. And Bitcoin acts as a on risk asset, not always, but a lot of the time, at least at this point uh, in time. So yeah, I think we've witnessed a pullback. We went under 100,000. Now I think we're sitting at 97,000 for Bitcoin. So it's impacted it, but in my eyes, it's a short term impact. And it's going to last a little bit longer, but I think we're still going to see new all time highs, in my opinion. Disclaimer: I don't have a crystal ball, but I think
What?
that yeah, later this year we'll start hitting new all time highs.
Cool. So it looks like Trump overall is great for crypto. It's great for the country in general. And make sure you see it rolling across the screen right there, mydigitalmoney.com. Log on, get in touch with Guy, some of his great staff that he has there to answer any and all questions. Do not think for a second that they don't have the time. It's a dumb question. They're such a big company. If you have the questions, no matter what you think of the questions, give it to them and they will give you an answer. They will let you know what's best for you based on their experience, not advice, but you know, at My Digital Money, they kind of shake the bones and lay them out and kind of read them and let you know what's going on. And based on what you have, what you can do with it, make sure you get that crypto investment guide at mydigitalmoney.com. Now, Guy, we get a little silly here sometimes. Now, it's still a crypto based question, but it's about somebody who's really ridiculous. I don't know if you've heard of the Hawk Tua girl. There was
Yeah,
this big scandal with I don't know if it was a coin that she created. Explain that to me.
yeah.
What happened with that? I guess they had it available for sale, and then people in her camp were undercutting the price. And but what the hell happened with that? She's gone. She disappeared. What happened with that? And what kind of punishment are you looking at doing something like that?
Yeah, so this is another example of a meme coin, right?
Okay.
So yeah, you probably are all familiar with the Hawk Tuah girl, with the first interview she gave that made her popular. So
Yeah.
she took
We'll
advantage
leave
of
it at
that.
that.
Yeah, yeah, we won't talk about the comment, go too deep
Yeah.
into that, but she became popular. She got a lot of followers and a lot of popularity on the internet, and she of course took advantage of her brand, her name, to release a coin, right? And it's a classic, whether it was or not a rug pull, but these things are susceptible to rug pulls where you get a bunch of money in, and then the issuer has a bunch of tokens, so they can sell them and cash out, right? And of course, a lot of the liquidity is not in there, so not everyone can take their money out, right? It's like when you have a bank run, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
they're the first to take the money out, and then leaving everyone with the holding the bag, right? So then people end up not being able to sell, and well, the price tanks, of course, so you lose all your money. So that's kind of what happened. I haven't been following it recently, so I don't know. I don't know if she's in trouble with the law or not, but I won't be surprised if she gets arrested at some point. Um, but yeah, I haven't been following it, but this seems to me like a classic rug pull.
Yeah, and when you're getting into stuff like that, you got federal laws involved, so we're getting into some real trouble. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, if there's a meme coin based on somebody who got famous doing what she did, be wary. Maybe not put any of your eggs in those baskets. And if you have any questions like that, what should I do? What is this? That's when you need to get in touch with mydigitalmoney.com.
Yeah, call. We actually pick up your call. We have U.S. based people that are knowledgeable. So, you have questions about the Hawk Tuah girl. My staff probably knows more than I do about that. You can give us a call. We're not going to offer it anytime soon, though. So, if you're going to
No,
ask, yeah, if you're
but
going to ask us if we're going to, provide it, or we're going to, no, the answer is no.
but still call. Bug his staff. Call them with all of your questions, whether they're Hawk Tuah based or not. They can help you out. And that number is 833-636-2008.
That's correct.
You got it. Get in touch with them. Again, get that the crypto investment guide. That's going to answer a lot of your questions. But even still, if you have it and you still have questions, give them a call, 833-636-2008. Guy, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
You too. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man, we definitely, and the next time we get together, who knows what's going to happen between now and then. And I mean that in a good way. I mean, the prosperity that we're looking at with crypto coin and everything else with the new administration, it's very exciting. It's still kind of surreal. We're still kind of not used to all this winning so rapidly, but here we are. What a great place to be. Guy Gotslak, I thank you very much. MyDigitalMoney.com. It's rolling across the bottom of your screen right there. 833-636-2008 if you want to go old school and get a US-based customer service. That is crazy. They have those still, and they
Real
have them in
humans.
MyDigital. Real live humans who can understand you, and you can understand them. Thank you very much, you guys. Hit all the information, phone number, link to mydigitalmoney.com will be in the description box. So click on it and get any and all questions you have answered. Guy, I thank you very much. And until the next time, we are out.